Hello, hope everyone's doing well. Again, this is more so like, yes, these videos are to provide value to people, but more importantly for me, because I know like stuff like this doesn't get loads of views. It's not telling you how to sign 7 clients in 5 minutes. No, this is more so like there's internal knowledge, and I know by teaching people the things that I've learned, it's going to become concrete in my mind, and I'm going to have a better understanding of it if I know how to educate other people on it, if that makes sense. Now, today we're giving a summary of atomic habits, and more so, probably the title of this video is just going to be consistency compounds. Let me take these off because consistency really does compound, and atomic habits really pushes this message forward. I've read this book already. You can see here I've got 22 pages worth of notes. I'm currently on page 85, and I'm rereading this book. Get it, because it's fantastic. Don't read it once. I've got so many books I've read, built notes on, wrote a bunch of pages down. I don't remember a single thing. And yes, they're there to go over, but chances are you're never going to go over it again. My opinion, it's better to read one book 5 times and have a concrete understanding of what it means and how to put those things into practice than to have read 5 books when in reality you're just breezing through it just so you can feel that self-worth of going through a book and finishing it even though you didn't put it into action. Yes, it feels better knowing you finished 20 books rather than one, but if you have a concrete understanding of that one, it's going to be better than the other 20 you read. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the notes that I've got down that was kind of a game changer for me. I was stuck in this cycle with multiple bad habits in my life. I'm not going to go into the details. Nothing too bad, just like fizzy drinks, eating bad foods. And I was continuously stuck in this cycle where I would hit this point of, okay, I know I need to change. The pain of staying the same is far greater than the pain of moving forward. I would stick to a diet for a week and then I'd give up. I can happily say I'm now out of that cycle and I'm consistently eating healthy. And that doesn't mean that I'm always eating salad and rice. It means, yes, I still have cheat days. I still have cheat meals. That's okay. As long as I'm within my calories and I know I'm gradually losing weight. For me, the goal is to lose weight on the stomach and build muscle at the same time. I'm also going to be posting more fitness content over the course of the next couple of weeks as well. Been a big fear of mine that I've needed to overcome, and I've just, gone at it head on. What are you scared of? You're scared of other people judging you in the gym. Who cares? You're going to go for it. Worst case scenario, somebody takes the piss. It doesn't really matter. Okay, let's go into it. It's human nature to put pressure on ourselves into thinking we need huge pieces of action and a big breakthrough to make improvements. You think, oh, building a business is so far out of reach. Okay, what if you break it down into the minute steps that go into the day-to-day? For example, on my Get Shit Done list today, try some new ads out, post some content, improve my product, record this YouTube video. It's moving the needle forward in every aspect of my life. You saw my goals video. I want to get to 500,000 subscribers and beyond. I want to make $100,000 a month with my marketing agency. And I want to have a great physique. I've eaten healthy. I've tracked my food. I'm working towards all these goals. And it's all these small, minute things like waking up and not snoozing the alarm. This morning I snoozed the alarm. So as soon as I woke up, I took a loss. I had my alarm for 6 a.m. I snoozed it and I woke up at 6:28 a.m. And that's a loss to me, but that's okay. I'm not going to sit there and cry about it. I've just got to make up for it for 20 other wins in regards to the ratio from that loss to that win. And then tomorrow say, how can I improve? I'm going to wake up on time. I'm not going to snooze. So improving by 1% can be far but noticeable, but it compounds over time. And this is what I mean by consistency compounds. Small habits compound results over time. And sometimes these habits go unnoticed for years until results start to show. These things are compounding under the surface until the popcorn effect happens and you have that breakthrough. That breakthrough is not from the big steps. Maybe you get 7 sales calls lined up, they all go to shit, and you think that one sales call at the end of that, where you closed the deal, was the big breakthrough. No, those 7 before were equally as important as the one that you had that breakthrough, because you learned the skills and the knowledge that you needed in order to close that last deal. So these things compound under the surface, and it can be hard to notice these things and actually take that into account. So a slight change in your daily habits can guide your life to a very different destination. Making a choice that is 1% better or 1% worse seems insignificant in the moment, but over the span of moments that makes up a lifetime, these choices determine the difference between who you are now and who you could be. You think about an aeroplane, and Atomic Habits uses this as a great representation. If you change the direction of the nose of that aeroplane just 5 meters to the left, it's going to go to a completely different destination than when it initially set out to. Exact same thing with your life. It might not be noticeable for the first hour or 2 hours of the journey, but as you go to land, as you go further and further on in life, you start to notice the big difference. That works on both sides of the spectrum, bad habits and good habits. Maybe now, instead of eating the chicken and rice or the healthy meal, you have a kebab or a burger as a one-off, but that one-off turns into every single day. You don't see the results of that bad habit until years after, when you look in the mirror and you see you've got a belly. The decision is made that from here on it out, and this is a note to my personal self, that it is a non-negotiable that I will eat like a healthy person would. And I wrote this about 3 weeks ago, and it has been a non-negotiable that I would eat like a healthy person would. Your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits, and your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. People don't understand that these small things compound into bigger things over time. Now, right now, if I look back from November time, November all the way to March, I really didn't make a lot of money, maybe £1,000 or £2,000. But those first 3 months, it was completely dark. I was working my ass off and I made £0, $0. I made nothing. But I know those things contributed to where I am now. And that big breakthrough happened from those small daily steps of going out of my comfort zone, meeting with clients, addressing uncomfortable situations. And yes, it's hard. But if you're not willing to go through the hard things, there's a popular quote that says, being comfortable is hard too, because you've got to deal with looking at yourself and feeling ashamed and knowing you could have more. So you've got to choose your hard. Do you want the hardness of going after what you want, or the hardness of staying in the same position the whole of your life? Breakthrough moments are often the results of many previous actions. The popcorn effect is compounding under the surface before you can bear the fruits of your labor. And here's a visual representation of that. Cancer spends 80% of its life undetected. And the same with baits, as they often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. The most powerful outcomes are delayed. You think about this, you eat healthy for 6 months, you're going to see a result, and people are going to notice that too. You're going to feel it mentally, emotionally, and physically. You're going to see it. It's the same with if you eat a burger every day of your life for the next 6 months. It's a lagging measure. You're going to see these things later on. This is why you've got to take into account that long-term gratification is a big skill to acquire. And how do you acquire it? You just make the small steps. It's not confusing. Everybody knows what they need to do. You just need to ask yourself. You can sit there and go, oh, Cam, how did you figure this out? I already knew this before I read this book. This just reinforced what I already knew. Small actions compound over time into big shit. Big shit takes time. Now, the core reason why it's so hard to build habits that last is people make a few small changes, fail to see the tangible results, and decide to stop. Or, one thing that I was a critic of and was a big mistake in my life is I tried making these huge jumps in changes in my life that I knew for a fact would not last, and I would give up after a couple of days because it was too hard. I'll give you an example. When I first started this agency, I believed that I'd be able to balance 8-hour day at college and then 10 hours working on my business. I'd wake up at 4 a.m. I'd go to bed at 1 a.m. After a couple of days, I burnt out and I gave up on it. And I actually stopped working on my agency for a couple of weeks because I got so unmotivated. Now, I know discipline is a big thing, but you've got to set realistic goals for yourself. Small things compound over time, whether it's just making your bed in the morning, whether it's saying, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do X good habit, I'm going to meditate, stacking those habits on top of things that are already integrated within your life. Now, it is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. You have to be committed. All you ask yourself, and this was a huge breakthrough in my life, is instead of having to make the decision in the moment, decide before you get to the difficult decision what you're going to do. I'll give you an example. Before I started eating healthy and I kept giving in, I used to get to that point of going to eat either the shitty food or the good food, and I'd go and I'd negotiate and I'd get decision fatigue because of the constant decisions and negotiations that I was having within my own mind. Do you know what I changed it to? I literally asked myself, what is the identity of a person doing this good habit? Let me give you an example. With eating healthy, I would get to the fridge and I would just go, what would a healthy person do in this situation? Oh, they'd eat the chicken and rice. They wouldn't eat the cake. Okay, no decision fatigue there because I know exactly what I've got to do. I'm just going to take on that positive habit and reinforce the identity. Small changes often appear to make no difference until you cross that critical threshold. And we've already talked about this. Now, there's 3 different layers that come into changing a behavior. We've got a change in your outcomes, a change in your processes, and a change in your identity. The first layer is changing your outcomes. This level is concerned with changing your results, losing weight, publishing a book, Most people focus on the outcome. Oh, I want to stop smoking. I want to be successful. When that, in reality, is the last layer that you should be thinking about. The second layer is changing the system or the process in place, changing your habits, implementing a new routine, decluttering your desk, developing a meditation practice. And this is that middle layer. Okay, actually taking the action that moves the needle forward towards the outcome that you want. And the thing that is most important that most people forget about is changing your identity. This changes your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgment about self and others. Now, I just want to re-emphasize that all of these things that I only learned a couple of weeks back, and I'm no different than you, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm this master and I'm so knowledgeable, but I'm going to say just by thinking of every single habit that I want to destroy and bring into my life, just by asking myself, what would somebody with this identity trait do in this situation? And then proving to myself that I can take on that identity through the habits and the systems that I put in place will bring the outcome. I'll give you an example just so this makes a bit more sense. The identity of a 7-figure entrepreneur. Okay, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll go, what would a CEO of a 7-figure marketing agency do? They would have a great morning routine. They would keep fit. They would be a great leader. They would remove all impulses and vices from their life. And just by simply following that principle of trying to take on that identity, I developed processes and habits that 7-figure entrepreneurs would have. As a byproduct of building that process and through action taking on that identity trait, I got the outcome, which is now owning a company that turns over multi-5 figures a month. I own that. And I've took on that identity trait now of an entrepreneur. I am a 6-figure entrepreneur now. And I can proudly say that. And that's all because I took on that identity trait, continually asked myself through the day, what would a 7-figure CEO do in this situation? Built out those processes, and as a byproduct of that, the outcomes came. The outcome is what you get, the processes are what you do, and the identity is what you believe. Probably if you're watching this and you don't make any money online, your belief is only certain people can do this, only the lucky people can do this. But then as you start to level up, your beliefs change as your identity shifts. So for me, for example, I know it's truly possible that anybody in the world can do this if they just put in the work and they have the natural communication ability. Now, I'm not saying that's a necessity, but that belief is now broken, and a lot of people still don't believe that it's possible to make money online. Now, I'm just going to finish off here because there's a lot of things that go into this. But the only reason you will stick with the habit is because it's a part of your identity. Long-term changes means there's been a shift in your identity. When you start taking pride in your appearance from the compliments you got, and this was an example of when my identity shifted. When I started getting compliments from losing weight, from building an aesthetically pleasing body, my identity shifted from somebody who was fat and unhealthy, who didn't care about their self-image, to a healthy person, somebody who had confidence that built through action, through the processes I put in place, and through that I got the outcome that I wanted, which was to have a body that I'm proud of. And then I took on the identity of a healthy person, which is why I now eat healthy, I track my calories, and work my ass off in the gym and boxing. Remember, the goal isn't to read a book, but to become a reader. That's the outcome that you're looking for. The goal is to not run a marathon, but to become a runner. What I mean by that is you shouldn't be so focused on the outcome. Oh, I want to read 5 books this year. Just say, what would a reader do? What would a runner do? What would a musician do? What would an athlete do? Asking yourself this just makes it so easy subconsciously to pick up on what these people are doing that you're not doing. Then you follow the processes and the actions that they have in place. And through that action and proving to yourself that you can keep the promises you make within yourself, you will get the outcome you're looking for. I hope this provided some value. If you want this document, let me know. There's so many amazing notes that I've got on this. And I want to just leave you with, keep promises to yourself, because the more evidence you have for a belief, the more strongly you will believe it. The more money you make online, the more strongly you're going to believe how possible it is for anybody else. And the process of building habits is actually you becoming the highest version of yourself by building those habits and leveling up as an individual. Take care, guys.